Hello and welcome to Blaugrana Everything News Roundup, a quick summary of the main events that happened in the world of FC Barcelona. In today's roundup, we'll be talking about Lamine Yamal's thoughts regarding the news reports linking him with becoming the next number 10 at Barca, Mikayil Faye and an impending transfer to Porto that makes no sense. Then we'll talk about Hansi Flick and his plans for Joao Felix, before finally closing things by talking about Fermin Lopez and a few things he spoke about in an interview. I will of course at the end of each news item just take a moment to give my thoughts. So let's go ahead and get started with Lamine Yamal. In a recent interview, Lamine Yamal was asked quite a few questions and a couple of things stood out which we're going to talk about here. First of all was the question regarding him inheriting the number 10, and his response was, the number 10 is currently Ansu Fati's, but if he weren't in the squad and they offered it to me, of course I would accept it. It is a dream for me. And concerning a second question that he was asked about Lionel Messi and comparisons between him and Messi, Lamine went on to say, Messi is the best player in history. To be compared to him is incredible, but nobody can be compared to him. I hope to have even half the career that Lionel Messi has had. My thoughts on this, well, once again, I'm just quite impressed with the amount of maturity coming from Lamine Yamal. He hints here to the fact that he feels he is ready to wear that vaunted number 10 jersey, provided it's actually available, and that doing so would be a dream come true for him, which, does kind of dunk on my take in the previous video where I thought he's still a bit too young to be given that jersey. I still feel the same way though. Shout out to this guy who called me out in the comments as well. But overall, I still think Barca should wait a couple more years before giving Lamine Yamal that number 10 shirt. Now, speaking of Lamine Yamal, I should, of course, make mention of the fact that there have been rumors claiming that PSG are ready to pay 250 million euros in order to sign him from FC Barcelona. But like I said, those are purely rumors. We haven't yet seen anything. There's not been a solid offer from PSG yet. So for now, we'll wait until the future if we're going to talk about anything of the sort. But moving on from him, we can talk about Mikayil Faye, for whom it seems that negotiations are currently still ongoing between Barcelona and Porto regarding Mikayil Faye's transfer. Now, initially, we know that Barcelona asked for a fee of around 15 million euros for Mikayil Faye to go to FC Porto, and the deal was to include a buyback clause for Barca and also a sell-on clause, which was also a request from FC Barcelona. And at the time we last spoke, negotiations were still ongoing. Well, since then, negotiations are still ongoing, and Deco has taken over the negotiations in Porto right now. The news being floated around now is they're speaking about a package which includes only a 5 million euro fixed fee, but that's going to come with quite a few bonuses. So my thoughts on this are kind of like I had said in my previous upload, looking at the trajectory that Barca is taking for the upcoming window. This transfer gives me major bad vibes in the form of Jorge Mendes, but then also add to that the fact that Deco is handling these negotiations, and it's like a who's who of Porto's affiliates and alumni. Why are Barca even entertaining these negotiations? I honestly do not know. You could definitely get a lot more money for Mikayil Faye if you sold him to a team in the Premier League or in the Bundesliga, even without a buyback, and you could move on from that. But hey, this for me still isn't a deal worth doing for Barcelona, but it seems it will not go away because once again, Jorge Mendes and Deco seem to be at the heart of this move, so we'll see how all of that goes for Barcelona. Let me know in the comments if you think Deco deserves to be Barca's sporting director, by the way. As we move on from that, we do have to talk about another Jorge Mendes client, who is Joao Felix. Now, regarding Joao Felix, we have been told that there have been some calls for him regarding his transfer for clubs other than Barcelona, but apparently Barca are still the favorites to get him. Felix wants to play for Barcelona. Laporta, Deco and Flick all want to keep him, and it's been said that Hansi Flick sees him as a player whom he can really help to elevate to the next level. Now, what are my thoughts on this? Personally, I believe that Joao Felix is one of those players who just has that problem where he doesn't have that day-to-day drive that is necessary to become a Lionel Messi or a Cristiano or Mbappe type. Now, undoubtedly, he does have the talent to be able to switch a game, to turn it on its head. But clearly, he doesn't have the consistency, or at least the dedication, to be able to show that talent consistently. And for me, it's a bit worrying that Flick thinks this is something that he can help Joao Felix fix, that he can help him pull it off, considering the fact how he himself, Hansi Flick, failed to do exactly the same thing for Felipe Coutinho, who is a player that had exactly the same kind of issue that we're seeing with Joao Felix. For Felix, this is the reason why I would say he has bounced around at so many clubs already for someone as talented as he is. In the past 18 months alone, he's played for 3 different teams, representing each in the Champions League and not really making any significant impact in that competition for them. So signing him for me feels like a luxury and honestly a vanity for a Barcelona team who we are told might find it difficult to put together funds for Nico Williams and a defensive midfielder, and we all know those are 2 positions that Barcelona are really desperate to find a player for. Anywho, let's end on somewhat of a lighter note by discussing Fermin Lopez's words in a recent interview. He was asked by a journalist for the reason of his celebration at the Bernabeu. "Why did you celebrate like Bellingham?" the journalist said. And in his response, Fermin Lopez pointed out that "I celebrated like that because Messi did it that way at the Bernabeu and not because of Jude Bellingham." He was then asked if the Mbappe transfer gives him cold feet, and to this he responded by saying, "Mbappe to Madrid, there is zero fear in Barcelona. I'm not afraid of Vinicius either. Sure, Madrid have good players, but so do we over here at Barca." And my thoughts on this, I really don't have that much to add on to what Fermin already said, and that's simply because Fermin did a pretty good job. Everything he said was clear enough, and he showed quite a lot of maturity and confidence in the way that he spoke about not just his own decision with the celebration, but also to do with how Barcelona should perceive Real Madrid, because at the end of the day, Barca should be expecting to compete with Real Madrid, and if they're going to do that, then they cannot, and I repeat, cannot look at the Madrid roster and start being afraid. They should instead look at their own roster as well and take solace and encouragement from that. So that's basically that for this episode of the Roundup, guys. Let me know your thoughts though in the comments. Aside from that, I thank you all for tuning in. Do have a great day. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and Forza Barca.